Out of all of the movies I have planned for this month, this is the one I was most scared to watch. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back to the horror checklist, an entire month of scary horror, Halloween, comedy, funny. It's just a bunch of Halloween and horror themed-ish videos, and I'm so excited. We are chugging along. I think we're almost halfway through, maybe. I don't know. I've seen this in every video, I'm pretty sure, but I've lost my mind doing this series. Don't know if I want to do it again, but today we are talking about the 1955 Universal horror monster movie Tarantula. I was so nervous to watch this, only because I hate bugs or spiders, just any kind of creepy, crawly little thing like that. And I knew how this film was made for the most part. I know that they used real spiders, real tarantulas. So I was like, I don't want to see that really, but I needed a movie, and I love Universal horror movies, and I love scary movies from the 1950s. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna suck it up. I'm gonna watch it. I actually enjoyed myself for the most part. There were some like creepy crawly moments with the spider that I wasn't too fond of, especially like a giant tarantula that is the size of a small rock formation. And you will probably see when I show some clips, but yeah. But what I really want to talk about is the way they did the effects for the spiders. For a film made in 1955, it is amazing effects that nobody does anymore today. Practical effects always look so much more real and better in camera, or even in post using mats, which I will explain in a second. That's why I think I love these old horror movies, is because they use practical effects. And yes, they do look fake sometimes, like I talked about with the alligator people last week, but the way they make the effect for the giant spider and any of the giant animals in this film, it looks so amazing. Like the giant spider when it crawls over the rock formation or down the hill, or when he is chasing any of the characters throughout the scene, especially that climactic scene at the end when they are blowing dynamite up and the tarantula just walks straight through the smoke and the dynamite. It's insane. And then the very final scene when they drop the napalm on him and it's the spider burning there. It's crazy and it looks so good. So before I really get into that, I do want to talk about the way they build suspense with this, especially towards the climactic scene at the end. With these old horror movies, I do have the knowledge of how they were made. A lot of the scariness of it back in the 50s was because nobody had seen something like this before, so that's why it was terrifying for them. When you see something for the first time and it's something new like this, it really terrifies you. A giant spider on screen, it's crazy, and it's very hard to distinguish that it is a giant spider that is superimposed over top, and it's not really the people in camera seeing it actually, it's all done in post pretty much. That is why I love these movies so much, and I don't usually get terrified or have this suspense build up as much for me, but there were some very suspenseful and tense scenes throughout this film, especially when the tarantula is chasing them down the highway, like I had talked about previously, and it just keeps getting closer and closer and closer, and they show really, really, really close-ups of the tarantula's face as it's looking in the window at the scientist's house, or even when it's going down to eat somebody. They do have this really great point of view of the spider's face. You see the pincers and you see its legs going into its victim, as well as you see the point of view of the victim with the spider coming down really close into their face. It's crazy. It's done in such a very smooth way that we don't necessarily get now. Usually it's like somebody acting to a green screen to a tennis ball on a stick. It doesn't feel as natural as it feels in this for some reason. Even though it might have been the same thing, it just was done slightly differently. Now let's talk about the way some of these effects were done. There is a scene at the beginning when the doctor is going through and checking the charts of all of the different animals, their growth, and the hormones or supplements that they are getting. And you see him walk past a giant rat, a giant guinea pig, and then a giant tarantula. The way that they did this effect, I think, is really cool. They did it in camera with the professor walking past screens projecting these images, kind of like in old movies where they were driving and you would see the projection of whatever is going past them on the road behind them. It's very noticeable in Psycho when Janet Leigh's character of Marion Crane is driving down the street. You see a projection of the road around her behind her, and they do that a lot in most films that they couldn't necessarily rig up a car to drive down the street. So they put the car on a base and they just make it look like the actor is driving and have a projection behind them. They also use scale models a lot, so when the tarantula is climbing over the rock formations or down a grassy knoll, the tarantula is usually crawling over a scale model of that same shot. So they just take whatever it looks like and recreate it in maybe some kind of foam or plastic and then shoot that. And then they take this and put it with the actual shot that they have of the actors. When they are shooting the actor, they will put a mat around where they are going to be putting the tarantula crawling around. I've seen it done very, very well in some silent films, especially some Buster Keaton films. They did mats very, very well. And I really love the technology that we don't get seen used anymore. There is one effect, however, that does not look super great. It is their day for night shots, which is they shoot during the day and then they darken the film to make it look a little bit more nighttime-y, but all the darks get really, really dark and then the lights just look kind of muddy. It's not the best, but at the time that's probably the best that they could do. And finally, of course, this is a Universal monster movie, so we have to have at least one trope to pick out, and in this case it is the mad scientist doing some kind of weird science experiment, and the leading lady gets roped into it or is part of the experiment to begin with, and it's always some kind of science experiment that we don't even have the technology for today in 2019. I think that's hilarious. But have you seen Tarantula? It is a classic Universal horror movie. I definitely recommend watching it if you have not already. It is linked in the description with my Amazon affiliate link. If you purchase it from that link, I'll get a small percentage back. That'll help make this channel even better. And let me know if you have seen Tarantula already, your thoughts in the comments down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really truly do appreciate you, whoever you are. Let me know here in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I have talking things, movies, TV shows, filmmaking, mystery, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye!